So then, Sebastian Vettel has called time on his Formula One career. I'm not going to call it a shock retirement because, to be honest, I had an inkling that he might be retiring from the sport, but it was a case of when and not if. Because let's be honest, he's not been all there the last few years. At least since 2018 or so, when he and Ferrari had that mega implosion around the German Grand Prix. That broke him. And if you were watching the channel at that time, you'll have probably seen all the race review videos where I inevitably had to talk about him or Ferrari screwing up the race in one way or another. That second half of 2018 was just littered with on-track mistakes and incidents. And there was also all the stuff going on behind the scenes with Ferrari as well, going on into 2019 when Charles Leclerc turned up and he became Ferrari's golden boy. So that must have been absolutely demoralising for Seb. He'd gone to Ferrari to try and emulate what his hero Michael Schumacher had done, pick up Ferrari and turn them into championship winners. In 2017 it could have happened. 2018 there was a chance. But after that it wasn't going to happen thanks to Red Bull starting to catch up and Mercedes maintaining that level of performance. So a new start over at Aston Martin beckoned for 2021. It started slow, but a second place at Baku kind of announced his return. Points at Monaco were also there, and a second place in Hungary would have been on the cards if not for a disqualification due to having less than the required 1 litre of fuel in the tank for post-race checks. 43 points in total, 10 more than his final year at Ferrari, which was, let's be honest, a disaster. And because of all these spins and so on, it's easy to forget that before all of this, there was a guy who was being touted as the next Michael Schumacher. 4 world titles in a row between 2010 and 2013, including 2 dominant seasons in 2011 and 2013. In 2013, he won 9 in a row, a record that still stands today. And that, in a way, means that he will get called a Newey champion. His 2011 car made the most of the blown diffuser concept, and his 2013 car made the most of the post-Silverstone tyre changes to go on a domination spree that hasn't been done since. He was consistent, fast, and had that desire to do nothing but win. And that did come back to bite him a couple of times, the first being that he wiped out his own teammate in Turkey in 2010 and then got wrapped in cotton wool by the Red Bull management to make it all seem it was Mark Webber's fault, which sort of marked the breakdown in the relations between Red Bull, Webber and Vettel as a whole. You could also throw in the final lap of the 2011 Canadian Grand Prix where, half a lap from victory, he got a little wide on the damp track and handed the win to Jenson Button on a plate. There was also the Multi-21 controversy where Seb ignored team orders to take the win at the Malaysian Grand Prix in 2013. The nail in the coffin really for Mark Webber's career, and the point where Vettel's winning got too much for the F1 fans and they booed him at every given opportunity. But Seb being Seb, he embraced the pantomime villain persona, and going onto the podium while being booed into next week still gave a smile and wagged that finger, getting everybody riled up that extra bit more. Proper WWF heel persona behaviour, the stuff that makes you want to hate him, but also at the same time being stuff that makes you go, oh, you absolute nutcase, I love it. But despite those tiny mistakes, he was fast becoming a hot prospect in Formula 1. He's still the youngest champion in Formula 1 history, and if his career had continued on that trajectory, 7 titles along with his hero might not seem like a stupid thing to suggest. He also won in a Toro Rosso, which is something that we should make a big deal of. It's something Max Verstappen didn't do. Vettel proved that he could win in a mid-grid car as well as a front-grid one. He even held up Hamilton for half a race in Brazil at the end of the same year he won in the Toro Rosso at Monza. I mean, I'm not going to get into the whole thing of McLaren set up for more dry running, Toro Rosso being better car in the wet and so on. That McLaren was faster, and Vettel held it up. 53 race wins, 4 world titles in a row. He has the same amount of titles as Prost and 2 more wins. He's third on the all-time wins list behind Hamilton and Schumacher and will most likely remain at least in the top 5 for a very long time. The good will win 1 or 2 titles, the greats will win 3 or 4, and the immortals get 5 or more. So Sebastian Vettel will remain an F1 great, despite his career falling off like it did. But the big question remains, who replaces him? Aston Martin is in need of an experienced driver, and with the culture over there of Lawrence Stroll apparently micromanaging everything might be enough to put some drivers off. Mike Crack has probably got a few voicemails from the likes of Oscar Piastri and a couple of others, but it's all dependent on who they want to get their hands on. Daniel Ricciardo might be a shout, given his performances at McLaren and the fact that McLaren is collecting drivers like Pokemon cards at the minute, but with Aston Martin currently being a step backwards in terms of performance, would he be willing to give up McLaren for a fresh start? Again, because he went to Renault for one and now at McLaren. Pierre Gasly could be another choice, as he might want an out of the Red Bull system to go and do his own thing. And Gasly currently sits 13th at the time of writing and finished 9th last season. This season hasn't gone as well for him, but if he needs an out of Red Bull and still getting a seat on the grid, it might be worth slugging it out for a couple of years in a slower car. And then there's the wild card, Mick Schumacher. The thing with Mick is he's tied to Haas through the Ferrari partnership, and for many people the goal is to see Mick in the Ferrari just like his dad. But with Sainz and Leclerc still there for the foreseeable future, what will Mick want to do? The Haas is starting to come on strong, and with Seb being Mick's father figure in Formula 1, it does sound like a sentimental move, but maybe not a practical one. Sebastian Vettel went from being a punk kid to being the nice guy of Formula 1. Picking up litter after Silverstone last year, opening a B hotel in Switzerland, the activism surrounding women in Saudi Arabia and the gay rights in Hungary. Recently, he was on Question Time on the BBC discussing climate change and Brexit. He became a changed man the last couple of years, and with retirement he can get on with it and see what he can do to change the world for the better. More power to him. I hope he does stick around and do some punditry, given that he has a fantastic sense of humour and a sharp wit. You know, stuff that he demonstrated when he appeared on Top Gear's Start in a reasonably priced car segment. That humour will be missed. But at least he's finally on social media now, so we might still see that side of him from time to time. But, you know, there's still the rest of the season to go. He can just go out there, enjoy what's left of it, and then he's got the rest of time to do the other stuff. So then, a look at the career of Sebastian Vettel and the news of his retirement. If you think I've made some good points, then give the video a like. And for more stuff like this, get subscribed if you're not already, and also get that bell on, so you never miss out on any future videos. Massive thanks to the kind folk at Patreon for the continued support, and if you want to help contribute to the image buying fund, you can help out through the link in the description, where there's also a link to Discord, and also to my social media. So until next time, I've been Adam Millward, have a great day wherever you are, and I'll see you all again soon for another video. Goodbye.